Hello, mortals! I am the booktube goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do this video or not because I am tired and overworked. But this is the overworked book tag, so of course I'm going to do it. I was tagged by Eric of Break Even Books, and the original tag is by a booktuber I know, Kathy Trivhart. Please check both of them out. I find this tag pretty interesting because it's not so much about books, but how booktubing affects you. And if you're a booktuber, I'm sure you can relate. Or if you've watched booktubers, I'm sure you can empathize. But let's go ahead and get on with the tags.
So the first question is, are you feeling overwhelmed? And if so, why?
Well, I do feel a little overwhelmed because I'm trying to increase my output. I'm trying to do videos on Critical Role, which is a Dungeons & Dragons podcast that I'm interested in. I wanted to do more videos on Star Trek, the original series. I want to do shorts. There's a lot of things I want to do that maybe isn't in the booktube mainstream, but they're just things I like to do. But I put so much on my plate, sometimes it does get a little overwhelming.
The next question is, tell us about the TBR that is lurking over your shoulder.
Okay, I have a confession to make. I don't really have a TBR because my reading style is a carryover for how I used to pick up books. I would go to the bookstore once a week and get one book to read for that week or every other week. However fast I read the books, and it used to be my treat to myself at work to go during my lunchtime to visit the bookstore. So I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of books and then not be able to go back to the bookstore. So I've just gotten into the habit, and this is over decades, of just not picking up a new book until I've read the old book. And I never really thought about that until I came to BookTube and everyone started showing up with their TBR lists and these huge piles of books that they're getting around to read. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a weirdo. I don't have a TBR. And sure, I may have a couple books on a list somewhere that I want to read, but it usually doesn't get out of hand. Am I the only one who doesn't have a TBR?
The next question is, how is video making or Bookternet shaping the way you content create?
Now that's a really interesting question because I have noticed that I feel as though I stay away from series more than I used to. I used to love finding a series where 3 or 4 books are out, so I start it and don't stop till they're all done. But now if I do that, that means I'm going to be spending a month, maybe more, just reading this one series of books. So I'm not going to have any content for BookTube. So, and I'm not sure how to deal with that because on one hand, I do like reading an entire series if I can find them, or then again, if I do that, I won't have any BookTube content. I don't know. I really don't know about that one. However, I do discover a lot of new authors, mostly because I do Shelve It or Shove It, where I pick books just based on the cover, but other authors that get recommended to me by other booktubers. So I am finding a lot more new authors that I probably wouldn't have found if I wasn't in the BookTube community or bookish community.
And the question 4 is, what do you think you can do so that you don't get overwhelmed?
Well, I guess I could quit BookTube. I mean, that would solve everything, but I don't want to do that. So I guess scheduling might be more helpful. I'm probably honestly not going to do anything differently, even though I can recognize that how I do things may contribute to feelings of being overwhelmed, but it's not that much of an issue that I think I need to take drastic action.
And question 5 is, do you have any projects that you really want to do, but something is holding you back?
Oh my gosh, there are so many little projects I have in my mind, but again, I just haven't gotten around to it. I want to do more of my Star Trek original series shows where I focus on the original series episode by Script Author, which I think is kind of fun, but no one really watches them. But I enjoy researching and making them. And I also want to do another one of those trope theater videos. Even though I'm a terrible actor, I think it's kind of funny. At least I think it's funny. You may think it's cringy. It feels as though really the only thing holding me back is that I don't have enough time. I am doing other things, so a lot of these projects I would need to script out and prepare. But ultimately, I think it's just not having the time, or just not having the time management.
Then we have, is there a book or genre that brings you joy or takes you to a satisfying place?
Well, of course, it is fantasy. I love reading fantasy. It's always been my escapism. Make it a portal fantasy, and I am just whisked away all that much faster.
Then, how much does FOMO play into feeling overwhelmed?
FOMO, of course, is fear of missing out. And I don't really think it does, maybe unconsciously or subconsciously, but I'm not really aware of a lot of FOMO making me feel overwhelmed, at least in booktube. You know, sometimes I think there's a hyped book that I feel I really want to read just because it's hyped, or I feel I ought to read because it's hyped, but I really don't feel that much pressure about it because I skip a lot of those books anyway, so...
And then the last question is there something that you specifically do because of booktube that you would not do if you weren't watching booktube?
Well, I probably wouldn't be doing drag, because pretty much right now I just do drag just for booktube, at least serious drag just for this booktube channel. And yeah, that would be a shame that no one would see this gorgeous work of art that is a booktube goddess if the channel didn't exist.
And then the last question is not a question. It's to tag 5 book creators that you think could use some time to chill.
Well, the first person to come to mind is, of course, Fit to Be Read, because he just did this amazing video listing 150, yes, 150 of his top science fiction books, and he rated them, and the video's amazing. Please check it out. If he's not overwhelmed, I don't know who is. Also, let's tag Britta Bowler because she's awesome. I'm not sure if she's overwhelmed by booktube because she seems to have it all together. Cool, collected, poised, but maybe there's something underneath that we don't know about. Let's tag good old Star Reads YA. Yes, Istar, I've tagged her before. She's a lot of fun, high energy, and she seems like she could be someone that gets overwhelmed, but I don't want to read too much into that. Let's just ask her to do the tag. And someone I haven't tagged, but she comes to a lot of my live streams, and I see her everywhere on other people's live streams. It's not like I watch a lot of live streams, but a lot of times I'm like looking at Jessie Gender or whoever, and there she is. Yes, I'm talking about Cappuccino Crafts. She mostly is a big supporter of other booktubers, but she does have a booktube and crafting channel, and I like to see her do this tag. And finally, my sister in drag, Say Kevi, the other drag queen booktuber here on YouTube. Kevi, are you overwhelmed? People want to know. Well, at least I do. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Let me know in the comments below. While you're there, like this video, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, well, you know what to do. Until we meet again, may all the books you read be blessed.